Can you get fluent in English without leaving your home? I believe the answer is yes, you can, if you follow the 6 steps I'm going to teach you in this video. Step 1 is get in a routine and keep it going. Most people find this the most difficult thing to do because we start well, but then very quickly we lose our way because we try to do too much. What you need to do is create a plan that you can maintain, even if it means studying on slightly fewer days or for less time. But if you keep a routine going, eventually you're going to make much more progress than if you start something and end it really quickly because you can't keep it up. Step 2 is immerse yourself in English content. To get fluent, we need to listen and read lots of English so we get used to it. And we can do that through watching the same program in English regularly. If you like the news, for example, you could go onto YouTube, type in live English news, and you'll find news from virtually every country in the world in the English language. So watch this and do it again and again and again, and eventually your mind will become more used to it and it'll become more automatic. You should also be reading an English publication regularly too. Most newspapers in the world, for example, have an English version. Train yourself to use these versions when you're reading instead of using your own native language. Step 3 is grow your English vocabulary. And this is more important than grammar if you're developing fluency. Most researchers believe the 3,000 most common words are enough for English fluency. Now, this sounds like a lot, but if you break it down, that means if you learn 30 new English words a day, then after 100 days, you will know enough English words for fluency. There are lots of lists available of the most common 3,000 words in English, but I've created a PDF to help you. My free PDF, which you can download in the description below this video, gives you the most common 3,000 words in English according to Oxford and Cambridge dictionaries, but I've broken it down by topic. Follow my PDF for 100 days, along with a dictionary and other resources that contain the words in the list, and you will get to know the 3,000 words you need for English fluency. Now, up to this point, we've been talking about receiving information. But at step 4, it's time to get speaking. I recommend that you start alone. And you could do this through creating role plays. How do you do this? Well, first of all, think of things you talk about in your everyday life that you would talk about in your own language. Write a conversation on these topics in English for yourself. You could use vocabulary from my 3,000 word list PDF to help you use the right words. When you begin speaking, first of all, read the conversation. You could do this once or many times until you feel confident to do the next step, which is to say the conversation from memory. When you could do this from memory, then use transcription software whilst you are speaking. For example, Google Translate. And this will help you check your accuracy. Then you can make sure that what you're saying naturally without reading is actually what it needs to be. And once you've done that, if you did find some mistakes, you can go back and try again. And keep doing this over and over again. And this is where a routine is important, because if you do it once, it won't have much impact. But if you could do it again and again over several weeks, you'll find your fluency improving. And you can also develop your English accuracy without leaving your home too. Use a course such as my Perfect English Grammar course, which you can access through a link in the description. And once you've spent some time speaking on your own, it's now time to get speaking with others. And you can do this from your home as well, because you can join an online speaking group. It's important to be aware of what the aim of this is. You don't need to be perfect before you join an online speaking group. And importantly, the people you are speaking to don't need to be perfect either. This is not the time for accuracy. This stage is all about practicing getting words from your memory to your mouth. because that is the most important skill in fluency when you already know lots of English. You have to be able to get your brain to quickly go from here to here without thinking. And it's in environments such as an online speaking group with other people who are learning and developing their English too, where this is going to happen. And because everyone will be in the same situation, there's nothing to fear. There's no need to worry about your mistakes because you're with people who are facing the same challenges as you. There are so many free online speaking groups that you can join, such as groups on Meetup, for example, the one that you can see here. Step 5 is a really helpful step towards fluency from your own home. And that is that you can switch your online world to English. You don't have to go to a physical world. You've got your own world on your devices, on your computers. And this is one thing that you could do. For instance, with me, if I have my Android phone, I'd go to Settings, System, Languages, and a language I'm interested in developing is Portuguese, so I'll click on Portuguese here, and that will change the language of my phone to Portuguese. So all my notifications, anything to do with the system, will all come up in Portuguese. So it's as if I'm in a Portuguese environment, even though I'm still in England. And you could do the same on your phone by switching your phone's language to English. Our phones, our devices, they're a massive part of our world now. So we don't need to go necessarily to other parts of the world to make our world English anymore. Just switch the language on your device and you're creating part of your world in that language, still being at home. And now we go on to the last step in getting fluent in English whilst being in your own home. And that is train yourself to think in English. Most people who are proficient in a second language are able to switch between thinking in their first language and their second language. If you want to become fluent in English, you need to do this with English too. The more you think in English, the easier it's going to be for the words to come out in English. So train yourself to do that as the final step on your journey to fluency. So with all this help available on the internet, what's the role of a teacher like me? Well, an expert teacher can speed the process up. And you could do this from home as well. And you can find out more about how I can help you reach fluency through my tutorials if you go to my website, englishwithrupert.com.